bring your first comedian of the evening. It's Thomas Grissom, everybody. Give it up for Thomas Grissom.
Larry David couldn't be here today. His enthusiasm had been curbed more than originally thought.
My name is Thomas, but if I had said Josh or Chris, no one would have questioned it.
It's great to be here in Raleigh. You know, you never hear anyone say it sucks to be here when they're on stage, like, you know, unless maybe they're in Fayetteville or some shit like that. But anyway, sorry, no hate to Fayetteville, but I'm not afraid to talk to you today about the controversial topics of our time, like religion, politics, internet pornography, and OnlyFans. And for those of you that don't know, OnlyFans is kind of like Playboy, but think of like Playboy that went to HBO, and then think of HBO that went to HBO Max, that went to virtual reality, that got monetized and robbed a lot of psychotic people out of their money because they had no self-control. But anyways, that's why I'm going to refrain from discussing the topics of the JCPenney catalog, you know, things that, you know, caused me to blow a MasterCard of $1,000 limit at 3 o'clock in the morning. You can't do that with the Macy's catalog because they use American Express. However, American Express does have the disadvantage of they'll take you to court if you go delinquent. But the cool thing about going to court for that is that you can plead not guilty by reason of insanity, so you can defend yourself. And then at that point, you might get sent to one of those luxurious halfway houses down in Delray Beach, Florida, or Malibu, and you can, you know, get on your social media, your Instagram, post pictures of yourself at the beach with a beautiful woman, and try to, you know, convince people you went to high school with, the woman you made uncomfortable in your 20s, you know, that you've made it in life, ignoring the fact that no one on the internet gives a fuck about you, except for the OnlyFans models.
Woo!
Alcoholics should not drive on the road to recovery. Although it is a pretty cool story to tell the officer. You get pulled over. Where you heading? To recovery. Where you coming from? The beer garden. Sir, this is Glenwood Avenue. Please step out of the vehicle. You were driving in the wrong lane. Well, you know what? That means that, you know, I was going to stop someone from going from recovery to the beer garden, so maybe I was helping save someone's life there. I never did go to AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, because everybody knows I'm an alcoholic. But if I did go, I would get a sponsor. It'd be Jim Beam.
The last girl I was attracted to, they made me feel very special, like I was the only person who was not in the room.
So I'm pretty new to stand-up comedy, actually. I used to do a sit-down tragedy, which means I would just kind of sit down and, you know, watch a lot of internet pornography for, you know, 24 hours straight until I had a panic attack. But you can't really tell by looking at me. The reason I don't answer my phone, anybody have one of these, a smartphone or a cell phone or a landline or anything like that, anybody have one of those, is because I've listened to my voicemails. So that's why I don't answer the phone. I got a voicemail. It was, "Hi Thomas, this is Norman from the Medicaid Fireside Chat Expansion Group. I'm sorry that I missed you." And I'm like, well, fuck, that makes one of us. Because I'm not sorry that you missed me. I wear New Balance sneakers, which I used to think when I was younger, they were Nikes for B-list celebrities. But the reason I wear New Balances is because I like alcohol, I like to drink, and I hate getting the spins. It's terrible. It ruins the whole day.
An alcoholic will do everything except quit drinking. They'll, you know, wear certain sneakers. They'll take like liver supplements. But if you ask them to quit drinking, they'll say, "Look, I got it under control." Jeffrey Dahmer was not a perfect person, but you can't say that the man didn't bring brains to the table. I recently got a PET scan, not to be confused with a domesticated companion animal scan. And they were playing music. When you go to a PET scan, they play music. So the guy before me, he had a song called Spirit in the Sky by Norm Greenbaum. And if I'm in there having a PET scan, that's not really the song I want to hear. You gotta be a little more optimistic than that. But hopefully that guy made it out okay, and maybe he got married to some beautiful woman. And for the recessional at the wedding, they played Last Resort by Papa Roach. But speaking of the PET scan, the results were MED, no evidence of dollars. Baby boomers, they got Social Security. Millennials got antisocial insecurity. Thanks, I appreciate it. Or AI for short. I had a job interview. I was in high-level negotiations to be the chief marketing officer of Iran. However, I failed the background check, and they went with a band from the 80s called A Flock of Seagulls. Speaking of some of the greatest bands of all time, I also like the Rolling Stones, unless I'm rock climbing. Or if I have an excruciating pain in my kidneys. Mick, is that you? Quite a jagger right there. I've been watching the news, unfortunately. The reason there's so much in the news is because if there wasn't, those people wouldn't have any jobs. And I've been looking at the Associated Press, because every time you watch the news, it's always from the AP, from the Associated Press. And the reason that the Associated Press has been able to stay above water so long is because they have a strict no ketamine policy. Then they would be the disassociated press. That joke went above some people's heads just like bathwater when you're on ketamine. The reason that Jerry Seinfeld never did ketamine is because he never got into Friends. So I am, you might find this hard to believe, but I am a psychiatric patient. An outpatient, of course, which means that I was an inpatient, but I got out, and now they're looking for me. And I thought this was a pretty reclusive place. You know, it's a kind of in a, you know, indoor mall type thing, so I didn't think they would find me. But when you go to the psychiatrist for the first time, they ask you a lot of questions for some reason, like, are you on the spectrum, or is anyone in your family on the spectrum? Well, no, but we did. They used to be on the spectrum. There was a great internet and TV bundle they used to have. We still use them for internet, but now we're on, like, you know, Roku and shit like that for TV and stuff, you know. They also ask you, have you thought about killing yourself? But I usually do my appointments in the morning, so my answer is like, well, if we schedule these later in the day, I might say, you're damn right, and you know, I've tried 3 times already. But because they asked me in the morning, I'm like, you know, I'm feeling pretty optimistic today. Let's see, I forgot the rest. No, I didn't. And another thing that you'll get asked at the psychiatrist is, they'll try to test for dementia, right? So they'll say, who's the current and previous 2 presidents? That doesn't work so well in the current administration and in the second Grover Cleveland administration. So back, you know, I think they let somebody with dementia go, you know, because they would say Cleveland, Harrison, Cleveland, and you know, they might have had dementia. And now if you ask me today, I'll say Trump, Biden, Trump, Larry David couldn't be here tonight. His enthusiasm was more than originally thought. Thank you.